In today's lesson, we are going to be learning the two ways by which we can write our CSS. Before we go into our CSS properties, to learn our CSS properties, we have to learn the ways by which we can be able to write down those CSS codes. If you like this kind of content, do well by joining our YouTube channel and also turn on the notification button to know when we are going to post our new videos. So I'm going to go in details right now to understand the two ways by which we can write our CSS code. We have what we call internal CSS and external CSS. How do we mean? Internal CSS in the sense that is the CSS whereby you write your CSS code inside your HTML code. That's internal CSS. While external CSS is whereby you write your CSS code outside your HTML code. You can make use of external CSS whereby you want to make your CSS code to look neat. That's why you make use of external CSS. But if you are in a hurry and want to just design your CSS code inside your HTML code, that's when you make use of internal CSS. How do you do internal CSS? Let's go into that right now. Internal CSS is when you come into your HTML. You can write your external CSS anywhere. You can write it anywhere. But you should make sure you start with the CSS headings of writing CSS. You write style. So inside your style sheet, then that's where you can write whatever CSS code you want to write. And before you write your external CSS, make sure you call the HTML code you want to design the external CSS with. Make sure you call the CSS code. But internal CSS inside your HTML code. How do I mean? Let me say this is H1. This is your HTML code. Welcome to class today. This is your HTML code and you want to design this HTML code. What do? You just come inside your HTML code, give a space, type in your style. This is your style sheet. And what do you want to do? You want to give this HTML a color. Let's say we'll call the color. You want to give it a color. You call the color. What color do you want to give this? Let's say we gave it blue. This is what we gave it. So this is how to write an internal CSS. Internal CSS, you write it inside your HTML code. Let's say we want to write our external CSS. How do we make use of our external CSS? Let's run this code right now to see how this our internal CSS will appear on the browser. Let's run it. Make sure, the last time I told you that we're going to be designing our CSS with Visual Studio Code. So if you have not downloaded Visual Studio Code, because this is what we are making use of in this class. If you have not downloaded Visual Studio Code, make sure you download it. So this is how our internal CSS appears. Welcome to today's class. This is how it appears. It gave our text the color of blue. Let's go and do it in our external CSS. Let's clean this blue because if you put blue, it will still reflect with the other one. So let's call our H1 because that's what we want to give our internal CSS. What do? You give it a color. You give it that color. Which color do you want to give it? Let's say we give it blue violet. Let's run it. Obviously, the text appears blue violet immediately. Let's change it because most of you won't be seeing the blue violet. Let's give the text a color of green. Make sure you save before you run it on your browser. You save and run. Obviously, the text automatically has a color of green. That's how to make use of internal CSS and external CSS, depending on the one you want to make use of. But our advice is you make use of external CSS so that your CSS code will look neat. And whenever you make a mistake and you want to correct it, you can just go to your external CSS and get your CSS code design. You can create a different folder and put in your external CSS so that it will look very neat. In our next class, we'll be discussing the CSS properties, how to design our website, how to make it to look good.